Hey, it's Steve Lindsley. Welcome back to my shop. In this video, I'm going to show you how I take an oak log that was given to me by my friend and coworker Bob and turn it into some rough bowl blanks. Bob had an oak tree come down on his house. Unfortunately, it didn't cause too much damage, but when he had the tree cut up and hauled away, he was kind enough to think about me and save me a couple of the larger pieces of the trunk. So we're going to cut those up with the chainsaw and put them on a lathe and rough turn some bowls. So stay tuned, and I hope you enjoy the video. Well, I just used my little electric chainsaw to split this log. I made some chalk marks on either side of the pith. And then I just wound up cutting out that slab in the center, which included the pith. So yeah, it was pretty straightforward. All the little saws, it's not as powerful as a gas-powered saw, but it gets the job done eventually. The process for this larger log was pretty much the same, except it was too long, and I had to cut it in half before I could split it. But after getting it cut in half, the process is pretty much the same. I marked the pith, cut a slab out of the center section to remove the pith, and wound up with some nice boards to put on the lathe. Well, I'm going to use my circle cutting jig to cut these blanks I roughed out yesterday into a circle, so they'll be a little bit more balanced when I put them on the lathe. The problem I've had in the past when I've tried to use this is this pin on this particular piece is way too small for roughing out some of these big blanks. This works great, and I don't even remember what it is, to tell you the truth, what size it is. But that works great for tabletops and whatnot. But for a big piece of unwieldy oak or maple or something put on there, we needed something a little bit more substantial. So what I did was I made another sliding fixture to go in my jig here, and I took a bolt. It's a little bit big. It was a metric bolt, was a little bit bigger than what would be a 3/8 inch equivalent, and I ground down the threads on it so that it would fit loosely into a 3/8 inch hole that I drill in the bottom of the blanks. So, and then I epoxied it into this blank here. So I just set that wherever size for whatever diameter I want, and we'll put that over top of the bowl blank and turn it into a circle so it's a little bit more balanced, hopefully, when we stick it on the lathe. So let's get one and go ahead and put it on there, and we'll see how it works. Well, there we go. We got a nice round blank. This one is 10 inches in diameter, so that works pretty well. So I'm going to go ahead and round off the others. Out of that couple of logs I cut up yesterday, I got 6 blanks. So actually I've done one already, so I got 4 more to do. So I'm going to rough them out, and then we'll go ahead and we'll be ready to put them on the lathe and see if we can make something out of them. All right, well, I have one of the blanks here. This particular blank is about 11 inches in diameter. You can see how wet it is. I mean, you can feel the moisture coming out of the thing. The heartwood is extremely wet. The sapwood is not quite so much, but it's really a water-soaked or sap-soaked log. One or the other. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the screw chuck on it, put it on the lathe. I turned a couple of these yesterday. They make a mess. The lathe takes a beating. Not only is this kind of a big piece for this lathe, but the moisture goes. The chips are wet. They go everywhere. The ways of the lathe were all rusted. In a matter of a few minutes, they turned rusty. The tool rest was rusty. Everything was rusty. I cleaned it up last night when I finished, but it's going to be the same today. I said I did 2 yesterday, and I think I got 3 5-gallon buckets of chips out of the thing. So it's makes a mess, but hopefully it'll come out good in the end. But we'll have a long time to go to dry, and so let's put this one on the lathe and get it nice and tight. Make sure we unlock the headstock. Bring the tool rest up a little bit. Bring the tailstock up. All right. Okay, I got the lathe set on its slowest speed for this lathe. It's about 600 RPM, which is probably a little bit faster than I would like to start with these things, but that's as slow as she goes, as they say. So let's stand back out of the danger zone and push the start button. We'll see how it happens. All right, well, that one's pretty well balanced, so we should be in good shape. What you can't see is that the thing threw out a trail of moisture across the shop and all over the bottom of the lathe, the way on the lathe. So it's going to be a wet turning. So let me get my face shield, sharpen up the bowl gouge, and we'll go ahead and start taking this off. I want to put a tenon on this end, reverse it around. This is going to be a fairly shallow bowl because the bark is going to be this part's going to be our limiting factor here, I think. So we'll see what we can do with it. I moved the camera back a little bit so you get a better idea of overall idea of what's going on. Turning wet wood sure is a lot of fun. The chips come off in long streamers and they shoot all over the shop and makes it kind of a mess to clean up, but it sure is a heck of a lot of fun when you're doing it. All right, I think that's all I'm going to do with this side of the bowl. I got the tenon on here. I kind of like the way that the sapwood kind of transitions into this different colored brown here, and then it into the typical white oak color. I'm not quite sure how much of that'll stay or what it'll look like once the bowl's dry, but I think it looks kind of nice now. It gives a lot of color to the piece. I think it's kind of nice. So the next thing to do, take it off and turn it around and hollow it out. Put it in the chuck, hollow it out. I'm going to leave myself plenty of thickness particularly in the bottom of this, because I'm not quite sure what I want it to look like when it's finished. We may actually do something different when it might make this bottom smaller or something. We don't exactly know yet. So it'll be a while to think about it, because I doubt if this is, it'll probably take a better part of 6 to 9 months, maybe even a year for this thing to dry to the point where you can actually do something more with it. So we'll get this off of here. Hollow out the inside. All right. Not sure if it's coming out on camera, but a lot of that stuff is starting to take a beating on the lathe already, so we'll take out the screw chuck. If we can get this in here. I made my tenon a little bit bigger than I would normally make it, only because once this bowl dries, it's going to warp, and we're going to have to true that tenon up, and I don't want it to be so small that I can't use these larger jaws for this to finish turning. So. I just like to knock off the sharp edges of the bow there on the inside and outside. I don't know if it helps or not, but if it keeps the rim from cracking at all, I figure it's worthwhile. So I just knock the edges off a little bit. All right, that's how I roughed out this oak bowl. It's a pretty substantial bowl, needless to say. So the last thing to do is to weigh it on the food scale here and then pack it up in some craft paper and with some chips, and I put it in a paper bag with some chips and stick it up on a shelf someplace for probably 6 months, and then get it down and weigh it again and see what's going on with it. So we take our food scale here, let it zero itself out, and we put it on there, and it's a whopping 2,945 grams. So it's pretty substantial bowl. Let's see, 2,945. We'll write that on there. Today's date is 1/4/15. So we'll go ahead and pack this thing up and let it set for a while. Hopefully it'll come out. I expect maybe some cracks around the rim, but hopefully not too much. When we're done packing it up, it's going to look like this. If you can see that there, it's just a bag. I write what it is on the outside is oak, and this one I turned yesterday. So they go up on a shelf, and we let them set until they reach equilibrium. Then we go ahead and finish turning. That's how I rough turned those oak logs into bowl blanks. I only showed one. It was basically the same process for all of them. I actually wound up with 5 bowl blanks out of the log, and so I got one more that I'm going to do something different with, and that'll be the subject of another video. But so I got 5 blanks. They were extremely wet, so it's going to have to go up on the shelf for who knows how long. I said, and I think I said in the video, I'll probably leave them up there for 6 months and get them down and weigh them and see how they're doing. It'll take them a while to get down to where we can finish turning. But when we do, they should be nice bowls. So I'm glad you watched the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and please don't forget to subscribe.